you said you watched Ant-Man.
Yes.
Was it good?
I fell asleep.
It wasn't good enough to stay awake, and you love the Marvel Universe.
If you want to talk about Quantumania, we can take a segue.
Like, he goes down to see the people in the quantum realm. I want to see
right.
talk about it.
Quantumania just released in theaters. I just watched it. This is our review. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Chandra, you have only seen the previews for it, right?
Correct.
All right, and you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so I watched Quantumania with my family. My kids really enjoyed it. My wife really liked it. I enjoyed what I saw of it, but I fell asleep in the middle for like 10 minutes.
Well, that's not too bad. You were tired and on vacation.
Here's the problem I have with what I'm beginning to discover is that I feel like the Marvel movies are becoming more and more the theme park rides and less story.
Well,
I really feel like they are. In the Infinity War saga, you had this story building, like this thing that was going to a point. I don't see that. These feel like trips you take. Like there's a bad guy introduced. Here's your hero that you know and love. They got to kill the bad guy.
They've got a formula for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay for 30 minutes in an episode of some TV show. But for 2.5 hours, it starts...
The quality has dropped off a bit.
Yes, so the problem with Ant-Man Quantumania is two things. One, it's got some actors I really, really like. I really like Paul Rudd. No problem with him. I like the actor that they had playing his daughter. She's a little bit older. She did a great job. Very believable relationship between the two of them, I felt like. Sometimes she feels a little forced, like they're trying to force you to like her, and she's trying to force you to see her as the cool, off the beaten path, in trouble with the law kind of chick. But like they want the teenagers to be like her is what it feels like. And I just kind of overlooked that. It's like, move on, no big deal. You know that I really love Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, she's my girl from way back.
And by the way, for a woman that's aging appropriately, I look at her. She's not getting all the weird stuff done to her face that some people her age are.
Yeah.
Did you
Anyways.
ever watch Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yes, I didn't watch the very end. Okay. But yeah.
It seems like most things are dropping off
These
lately.
movies, well, now there's no big overarching narrative, and it's so disappointing. Much like Thor: Love and Thunder and Doctor Strange, these just feel like strained attempts to keep something going. And I'm about to the place where I'm like, I need an end because there's no narrative. I don't care about the story you're building anymore. And the problem I have is I've watched a few stories that are very, very gripping right now. Like I watched The Whale, very compelling story. I watched recently a Marriage Story with Adam Driver and...
Yeah, that was good.
Yes, again, another story that's so gripping. You're interested in the acting and the storytelling. It's all there. Interstellar is a movie, in my opinion, and Inception are movies that have big spectacle, but a story, a narrative that you have to figure out. You know what I mean? And I get engrossed in that kind of stuff. And when I watch that, and I really realize when I want to go to cinema, that's what I want to experience is this compelling story. Yeah. When I go to something like Ant-Man Quantumania, not only is the majority of the movie the colors and the spectacle and whatever else, and there's not that much story, the entire problem and the entire issue is in a universe that's not mine. It's the quantum realm. The big problems with the quantum realm. So I felt like maybe there was a disconnect to me. It's like I have nothing to do with that. It's never going to bother me. There's not enough suspension of reality for me to get with it. You know what I'm saying? Because not only is it fancy, colorful characters that don't exist, now they're not even on Earth. You know, it's like some other totally bizarre thing. At least with Interstellar, it's a future that could possibly happen in my universe. You know, and I could get behind it. But now there's no narrative, and so were the special effects cool? Yes. Did I like Kang, the bad guy? Yes, I like Kang a lot. It was done really well, and there's some funny moments you didn't expect, and I laughed. But it does feel like one of those forgettable theme park rides. If someone told me they couldn't tell the difference between Ant-Man 1, 2, and 3 or whatever at this point, I'd be like, you're probably right. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like they're dumbing down everything in general.
Yes.
To make it more wide appeal and stuff. And it's just like, man.
Yeah, there's no narrative. There's no story to be told. It's just who's the bad guy, who are the characters that are going to assemble to beat them, and how do they do it?
Yeah. No substance.
And now it's getting to a point, the the big question is which of the original characters are going to die or retire throughout the movie, because you assume that's going to happen at some point. You know, because Tony Stark, and it's like you assume one of the characters that you know and love, their contract's up in real life, so who's going to die, you know?
You know how with Doctor Strange, you're like, who's the audience for this for? It's too young for kids, what did you say?
It's too horror for kids, too graphic horror for kids, but it's too slapstick and goofy for adults. Just like Thor: Love and Thunder, it was too much like kind of sexual, inappropriate humor for kids, but too slapstick goofy for grown-ups.
So what about the quantum thing? Was it a similar theme?
No, there were I think most parents could laugh at the jokes, and so could the kids. There was not like a whole over. There's a couple of moments that were talking about like some mature stuff, but nothing like, and it wasn't horror or anything like that. But I was not interested. It was just this universe I didn't have any investment in, and no real good story. So I kind of was like, when is this over? You know, there's no anticipation of something. They even tried to create anticipation through Kang the Conqueror, the big baddie towards the end, and there's always the sneak peeks at the end, and they tried to create anticipation, but I just was like, that's cool, but who cares? I've never been that way with Marvel stuff, but I've been that way now for like, in my opinion, the last really solid Marvel movie that I saw was No Way Home, Spider-Man. It was the best one I saw, and that's been, 2 years now, or a year at least? Well, the thing about MCU is that I feel like they're decaying. It's falling apart, and Disney Plus is, because of their ideological issues and all the stuff they've been trying to push, it's really been falling apart. And Kevin Feige has said from the very beginning, like, our main goal for the next phase of Marvel is to make sure that over 50% of all the heroes are female. When you make that your goal, I don't care if you have female superheroes, I'm on board. But when you say that's your goal, I know that some of your choices are going to deliberately be just to have female characters. It seems dirty right from the start. Think about if I was like, we want to make sure that majority of our heroes going forward are men. If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here and here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.